Welcome back everyone to EET 2303 this Thursday, the 9th of April. And hopefully you're finishing up your forest growth routines. I would expect that by the end of the day tomorrow on Friday, or at midnight Friday tomorrow, that you will have that forest growth program completed. Uh, Again, if you have any issues, make sure you email with me so we can get those handled. Let's go ahead and talk about the next assignment, which will be due by Friday, the end of next week. And this assignment is going to build on what we've already done with the forest growth problem, except now we're going to, instead of talk about growing trees, we're going to talk about growing money, and we're going to implement an array in this program. Now, we talked about arrays before this fiasco happened with the COVID virus back before spring break. So if we need to talk about arrays again, make sure you email me and I can take care of that in our next lecture. But today again, I just want to basically go over the assignment that we have. Okay, so this is an annuity problem. Addressing the issue of saving for retirement. Typically, how saving for retirement is done, a certain amount of money is put aside each paycheck, either by you or perhaps by your employer in something like a 401k program. So here you are, you're a young man, young woman at a certain age, perhaps in your early 20s. You just graduated from school and you're going to get your first job. And one of the things you honestly ought to be thinking about, other than paying bills and buying groceries and rent or buying a house or buying a car, is you probably should be thinking about putting something aside on a regular basis, so that when you get to be my age, you might actually have some money set aside for retirement. So what I want you to do is write a program. Typically how that will work is the program will ask you for your age and a certain growth rate for your money. And again, I put the limits between 0 and 20%. In real life, you're probably never going to get a 20% annual return on your investment for 40 years. If you do, good for you. It'll most likely be significantly less than that, but I give you that range to kind of play with the numbers. And initially you probably ought to write the program to save up to some certain value, say $1 million or something like that. But that's really kind of up to you how much you want to save for. And so what are the inputs to this program? Obviously your rate of return, your current age, and what is your ultimate savings goal. And again, your program should validate entries such as the rate of return. Again, I want to emphasize you should be using FGETs for all your inputs. And again, the program should run until you decide to quit running the program. You may want to play around with different rates of return or different final values. That's kind of up to you. But the big thing is I want you to build a table of data. And this table will be, assuming you pay in monthly, this table of data will give you your monthly pay into the account and the value of your account at the end of the month. So in other words, let's say you're 25 years old and you want to save until you're 65. That's 40 years. 40 years times 12 months is what, 480 months. So there should be a table with 480 lines in it. And each line is the accumulation of your investment and plus what is the final result at the end of the month. And hopefully that final line reaches your goal. So I want a table of your regular investments and the total worth run all the way from your current age until you determine what your retirement age is. Okay, I've given you some equations. We have the same equations as we did in the final, this last assignment, +1. So here we are, we have the FV, then we have the PV equation, we have the I equation, the N equation, and something called the PMT equation. So, you need to choose which one or ones of these equations that you need to use, and write me a program that tells me how you're thinking about your retirement goals. Okay, so the quiz question for today. I've given you 5 equations. Which one or ones will you use for this assignment? And again, the assignment will be due then midnight or Friday of next week, which will be the 17th of April. And again, this should be very similar to what you just wrote with your forced growth program, except with a kicker that we're going to build a table with a running total of how your investments are going to build up. If you have any questions, again, email me, and stay well.